Matt Sabourin de Choinière from Rockingham 30 Seabrook, here today to introduce HB 1106. This is a bill requiring, it's a dual citizenship disclosure bill. I filed this legislation because I believe I've noticed a hole in our election system. Right now, there's currently no check to determine if a candidate for office has a second citizenship in a foreign country or not. And I see this as a right to know issue. If an elected official has a second passport, I think that their constituents should at least be aware. And I'd like to use myself as an example. Back in 2018, it was discovered that I was actually eligible and very interested at the time of becoming an Italian citizen. It was not something that I knew about growing up, going through the family genealogies. It turned out to be something that I could do. And I was very interested in the time being of doing my family tree. It's a huge process, thousands of dollars. I ended up not following through with that plan, especially after moving to New Hampshire. It just didn't work out well. That window has since closed for me. With that being said, I'm still obviously proud to be an American citizen. But with that being said, throughout the entire process of filing for office till we take our oath of office as elected reps, there is nothing to check to make sure that there isn't a second passport in anyone else's house. And I think that's a right to know issue. This concept of a dual citizenship disclosure isn't just to be explored here today, but also in the U.S. Congress as well. This bill establishes a minimum standard regarding disclosures and penalties, to which later could become more restricted if needed. This is to account for the fact that it's possible that a naturalized U.S. citizen may have come from a country that they are no longer able to return to and officially cancel the previous citizenship. Each country, including the United States, has a specific process for revoking citizenship, and merely becoming the citizen of the United States and taking exclusivity oath does not mean that one has revoked the citizenship of his or her previous country. While there are certain foreign countries whom the U.S. has a contentious relationship more so than others, any dual citizen in office represents a potential domestic security risk. At its most benign, a dual citizen will take their position of public responsibility to the United States and New Hampshire constitutions seriously, and their public actions will reflect on their sincere concerns for the welfare of American constituents. However, dual citizens in office represent a potential conflict of interest, with at worst acting solely in the interests of their country of foreign citizenship while deceiving the American public. Under this bill right now, the penalty for failing to disclose after filing is the same penalty for violating oath, which is perjury, a Class B felony per RSA 641.1, punishable for up to 7 years in prison. Additionally, on the books today, there's RSA 92.2, which states that no person chosen or appointed to any public office or to any position where an oath is required under any law shall exercise such office or position or perform any act therein until he shall make and subscribe the oath or declaration as subscribed by Part 2, Article 84 of the Constitution of the United States. And any such person who violates said oath after taking the same oath shall be forthwith dismissed from the office or position involved. So the statutes on the books today already provide remedies where if someone were to be elected to office, failed to disclose his foreign citizenship, there's already a method of which they could be removed from office because they did not take that oath, and this bill establishes that oath. Any questions?
Other questions from the committee? Representative C.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Representative, for taking my question. I was just thinking this was a little bit confusing, and how would one know if they were a citizen of another state? Because I've lived in, this is my 6th state now, and 5 others I've registered to vote and voted in. Would those, I was born in yet another state, so would any of those be lingering citizenships? And how would I know?
Well, if you're no longer a resident there, or if you have not taken an oath of citizenship to any of those states, you would not be, I don't believe that you would be a citizen of those states. I know we do have some New Hampshire citizenship bills that are being submitted this year to help further define what a New Hampshire citizen is, but using those standards, I would say that that's how you would know if you are a citizen of another state.
Further questions? Representative Newsom.
I guess following up on Representative C's question, the bill doesn't say it would be Representative C's knowledge that he is not a citizen of those other locales. It is that they have a knowledge or belief that the other state would consider them a citizen. So it's not actually calling a requirement for actual dual citizenship. it's a belief, it's an understanding that the other nation or state could or might could have you. So it seems like, as we heard during an executive session earlier today,
Yeah.
that this is kind of a presumption of guilt prior to, instead of a presumption of innocence. That, as you said, we do have all these other laws on the books that, that cover this. So it seems like adding this in advance would be problematic on that front as well.
Well, you could come to the United States, naturalize, and you might not be able to be in a situation where you could go back. And that's why it's a disclosure, right? It's a disclosure. It's not a prohibition. We're in New Hampshire. We do the door knocking. People know who their candidates are going to be. It's a disclosure for that reason.
Representative Wearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for taking my question.
Yes, sir.
Would you be open to an amendment to move this, to narrow the scope to any nations other than the United States of America, and excluding the question of state citizenship for now?
I am open to that.
Further questions, Representative Lane?
Thank you, and thanks for taking my question. Could you refer again to the statute that you talked about where the penalties are? You can just give me the numbers.
Yes, ma'am. So RSA 641.1, that's perjury,
640.
violating an oath. And then RSA 92.2 has to do with dismissing someone from office.
Okay,
92.2.
thank you.
Further discussion, Representative Bay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for taking my question. Just for the record, I'm a naturalized citizen, and I'm not a citizen of any other country. So this bill, because there are a lot of words. Does this bill mean to disqualify anyone who has dual citizenship?
No, ma'am. It's just disclosure. It's a right to know issue for citizens, for the public. If someone's running for office and they have a passport, I see that as a right to know issue for the public. It's not meant to disqualify. It's not a prohibition. If you were to do a prohibition, bad actors might withhold that they have that second passport, that they have that citizenship, and that's what would happen. And I think if you had a prohibition, so I wanted to just do a disclosure. Good question, ma'am. Thank you.
Further follow-up?
Thank you. So if someone is to run for office, you are putting the due diligence on them to make sure that they may not be claimed as a citizen of another country, or is the qualification to be a citizen of another country, although it has not been claimed, something that needs to be disclosed?
It is supposed to be. It is supposed to be if you know that you're a citizen, because whether you have I used to be qualified. I used to be qualified to be an Italian citizen, but I still had to go through, or at least a cursory research shows that I was, quote, qualified for that. I never made it over there. Never made it to any of the town halls. It's a huge process. So. It's to the best of your knowledge, of the candidate's knowledge, what is known of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Representative, for taking my question. Curious, because we're talking about a felony level offense here. I mean, this is, and I'm thinking about an adoptee who may not have access to all their records, who may very well be a citizen of another country. It's on them to disclose if they don't have full knowledge and information about their nation of origin and their citizenship status. What happens in a situation like that when they're facing a potential felony offense?
Well, if they don't know, if they don't know, then they don't know. But it also has to do with, I think, intent. Like, you have to be meaningfully trying to hide. You have to be hiding. It's meant to be innocent. It's not meant to be. Does that make sense?
Representative Page?
I just have a question. I'm wondering if it might be
more efficient, let the political market decide. I mean, there's nothing that would prohibit a potential voter from asking
Right.
you, for example,
Correct. Yeah.
are you a
And-
citizen or
and-
not?
And again,
That'd be
that's
more
also
efficient
why
way
it's
to do that?
and that's also why it's a disclosure as well, and not a prohibition.
Thank Representative Page for coming to election law and introducing a new term that I'm probably going to shamelessly say again and again, the political market. I love that term. Further questions from the committee, Representative Lane?
Yes, thanks for taking my question. You said that this was just intended to be a disclosure.
Yes, ma'am.
But you also are requiring a short statement of explanation. So a disclosure is just, I am a citizen of another country.
Mhm.
Period.
Yes, ma'am.
Not with an explanation. So but you characterize it as a disclosure?
Yes, and it's also based on their knowledge or reasonable belief.
Further questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you. I only have one other. Oh, I have two cards. Next up is Representative Timothy Horgan.